There is nothing better than getting paid every single month without having to lift a finger. And in my opinion, then the best way to generate that is by investing in dividend companies. But not all stocks are equally good for monthly dividends, and that is exactly why I decided to make today's video. I will be giving you guys my personal top 3 favorite monthly dividend paying companies. But before we get to it, then my name is Casper, and here we strictly talk about investing and financial freedom. So if you really like investing and are on a journey to retire early, well then press that subscribe button below. So the first monthly paying dividend stock on my list today is an industrial REIT, and that is of course Stack. They own more than 500 industrial buildings, such as warehouses, distribution centers, and manufacturing facilities. And they are operating across more than 40 different industries. They are the second largest industrial REIT with a market cap of $6.4 billion. And over the last year, they have given a return of 6.3%. They have an FFO of 2.26 and a P to FFO ratio of 15. So overall, then is the current value for Stack looking really interesting. But let's have a look at their dividends. They have a very safe and reliable dividend yield sitting at 4.29%. And they have been growing that dividend for the last 10 consecutive years. And even though REITs really have been under heavy pressure during the last year with the high inflation, the high interest rates and so on, then it is really nice to see a REIT that has given investors a positive return and has managed to increase their dividends. Even though their 5-year growth rate is only sitting at 0.7%, then it is still an increase. And maybe when the markets settle more down, they will increase it even further. Who knows? But overall, then is Stack a really solid monthly paying dividend REIT. And if you don't already own it, well then I would highly encourage you to look more into it. So moving on to the second monthly paying dividend stock on my list. And here we of course have the monthly dividend king, Realty Income Corp. And it is basically impossible to do a video like this one without mentioning this company. It is the most popular REIT on the market today, not only for their good results, but also among the retail community for their monthly dividends. This company has consistently been increasing their dividends for the last 29 years in a row. And that is officially making this REIT a dividend aristocrat. And that is very rare within the REIT community. The company has not only increased their dividends each year, but also each quarter for more than 100 quarters in a row. The company has a very strong portfolio of buildings that is in very high demand. And they have really big and well-known tenants like Dollar General, 7-Eleven, FedEx and so on. However, a lot of these big tenants have been under question during the last year, and that has had a negative impact on their share price. The concerns about the tenants are completely fair. However, I do feel like it is very short term, because when you own a building, you can basically decide whenever the lease expires if you want to have a new tenant or if you want to continue with the same tenant. And if there is some problems, well then they can always find a new tenant. But if a big part of their tenants would be unable to pay the rent, well then they would most likely have a problem. However, this problem is again most likely very short term, as they potentially could go out there and find new tenants and have all their buildings leased out again within a year or two. I am a very long-term investor, so for me, then those concerns are not really that big, and I feel like the market have overreacted to it. I don't feel like the drop in share price have been deserved based on these things alone. There is of course also the interest rate and the inflation as well. However, I do feel like it is really at a discount right now, and it is very hard not to buy this company. But let's have a look at their dividends. They currently have a dividend yield that is sitting above 6%, and that is of course really good. And one of the reasons why it is that high is because there is an inverse relationship between the share price and the yield. And once the share price falls, well then does the yield increase. And they have a 5-year growth rate of 3.7%. And even though that is not completely amazing, well then it is pretty high when you consider that they already have a very high yield. Overall, then is this company the most popular REIT for a reason. I do own the REIT myself, and I definitely plan on buying more in the future, especially if the prices stay at the current level. Alright, so moving on to the third and last monthly paying dividend stock on my list. And here we have Agree Realty Corporation. And this company is very similar to Realty Income Corp in terms of how they work, in terms of their tenants, and in terms of the way in which they're leasing out their buildings. However, the size of these two REITs are very different. both in terms of size, but also in terms of market value. And this REIT right here is only worth $5 billion. And just like Realty Income Corp, well then has this REIT here also suffered a big loss in share price here in 2023. And they have a loss year to date of 23%. And that is due to the tenants being under question, but also due to the fact that we have this high interest rate and this high inflation. And that basically hurts smaller companies more than larger ones. We also see bigger changes in share price for smaller companies than for large companies. But let's have a look at their dividends. They have a dividend yield of 5.41, and that is actually very, very good. This company also has a very, very strong 5-year growth rate, sitting at 6.8%, and that is very, very impressive. And they have also consistently been increasing their dividends for the last 3 years in a row. Overall, then is this REIT here a really, really interesting monthly paying dividend stock, and this company has a lot of potential in the long run. That was basically all I had in today's video. If you have any monthly paying dividend stocks, then please leave a comment below on which stocks it is. I hope that you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, then don't forget to smash the like button below and hit the subscribe button for more weekly content just like this. See you guys in the next one.